And we're starting now. Christina was shutting the door so we wouldn't fall down the steps during the video. Okay, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the shift that homeopathic treatment causes in the person's DNA that removes obstacles to us doing our personal growth, our shadow work. You're going on your life's path. And we were discussing how, from Bill's perspective, he was seeing it as like people get really addicted to the drama, the struggle,
The
catharsis.
Catharsis.
The catharsis of the release, the crying, the emoting. And this is true.
Dramatic.
Because
the drama.
From a homeopathic perspective, from a health perspective, addiction is a dysgracia. It's a level of dis-ease that comes over us when our coherence is lower, our vibration is lower. We become susceptible to addictions, to disease, to like all kinds of pathological conditions that can run the gamut of physical, emotional, whatever.
And this ties into what we were talking about this morning with the people going on trips and they get themselves drained and they get run down, so then they get sick.
And it's the addiction to the big experience.
The
peak experience, right?
The peak experience, which is what the hell? We're in Asheville, so ecstatic dance. What else?
Yes, so the festival, the somatic release,
the dancing,
the pussy opening, woman
yoni
opening connection to the Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Drum circles.
Buzzwords.
And these experiences serve us in that they give us a way to connect in, to release things, to feel, but they're not the only medicine. And we have to be careful that we don't use these medicines as a crutch. And it's a real fine line. Like, for example, I was, it's about a year ago, I got introduced to one of the local kava bars. And, for me, I've struggled with the addiction of smoking and with, other things to palliate that deep grief that was really present with me and, whatever else that was there. The kava triggered even deeper this addictive tendency. And I noticed it then, as I've got to have the kava, and it was but other stuff, I was still smoking at that point, cigarettes, and that increased, all these other ways that I would look for that palliation, all of it increased.
Well, they're different addictions to kava or pot or nicotine or alcohol or ayahuasca, mushrooms, cannabis. Yeah, pot is cannabis, right?
Yeah.
As far as I know. So it's all of these things can be distractions for what needs to be addressed or dealt with.
Right. They're all an escape route from the pain we feel or the, experience we're having right now in our humaning. So the homeopathy comes in.
What the kids are calling it these days.
Humaning. That's what I call it, because it's we could do all kinds of stuff, but we all are in this body. We're all human right now. Mm-hmm. The homeopathy comes in because it works on a cellular, on a DNA genetic level, and it releases those toxic tendencies, the addiction, the chronic disease, the things that are inherited, so that we have a burden lifted. We have more ease put into our energy field, so that the work that we're doing spiritually, emotionally is easier. It doesn't mean we're not going to still struggle, but it removes something so that it becomes more of a purified path.
It facilitates the capacity to integrate the change.
It does that too, yes.
There's that place when you understand the tools that can be used that don't cause the neurology to go to fear or increase tension. It facilitates the movement along your spiritual path. Yeah. That's what I see. I mean, you know, there's lots of things. I get the benefit of working with this one. If there's something that comes up and I get the remedy, and so it facilitates the shift, I don't even know that it would be a burden for me to work through. And I know this to be true because this was about 20 years ago. I don't know if I even told you about this, but this was, I remember there was a cold or flu or something going around, and I was dating somebody at the time, and I started working with homeopathics and started feeling kind of bad that morning, and took some of the remedy.
Whatever specific remedy was it prescribed?
It was like a silo or something for like colds or flus or something like that. And I got tired and I slept for 2 or 3 hours that afternoon. The woman I was dating at the time was down for 3 days.
Wow.
You know, the same, basically
and she didn't take the remedy?
She didn't take the remedy. So there was that recognition that how you don't know what you don't know, and that the facilitation of the remedy moves you past something you don't realize you have a struggle for. But until you start having the struggle and then the struggle is removed, then it's so much easier to move whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I know I know I have the experience with my daughter, and there was like a fear of being away from me, and in working with a specific remedy, it was like, what was it, 3 months?
Yeah, if that.
It was a ridiculous amount where it was like no big deal.
Yeah.
She had no, it was like a separation anxiety kind of thing. Like she didn't visually see me in the room, whatever, it was like a friggin' meltdown. And completely irrational, completely illogical. I could talk with her all day about it, and then it was like, you know, and it was crazy. And within, like, it was less than 3 months, and she was just kind of doing her thing, which was, I was blown away by how significant the shift was in such a short period of time. And
for something that had been there for so long.
Right.
Yeah. It was pretty remarkable. So yeah, there's something else I was going to say too. So it's not coming back to me, but yeah.
Was it around homeopathy?
It was around homeopathy and the struggle, and that'll be a topic for another video.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this is an ongoing conversation that we have here, and there's always...
Oh.
Nope, you can't talk about it now.
It was about sometimes the addiction is to, I can do it myself. I've got my own back. You know, the pattern of the extreme independence being the trauma response. You know, we get addicted to the patterns that make us feel powerful. You know, because ultimately when we have become disempowered through some situation, some trauma, some assault, physical, mental, emotional, whatever that trauma is, you know, we take steps to gain that power back. And that can be, you know, in any form, like addiction, bullying, you know, the extreme independence.
Yelling or playing the victim.
Yeah, extreme sports. Like adrenaline
Oh yeah,
seeking.
the adrenaline junkies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
drugs,
I was
alcohol.
guilty of that, and as far as judo goes, it's like the throwing people was a rush for me. So I just want to throw people a lot.
Yeah. So when we can get to that place where because Bill was saying earlier that you don't know what you don't know, and like what can be shifted with the homeopathic treatment, and it's like if you can just get to that point where you like, okay, you just give that little bit of admittance that you need help, and then like go in.
Well, I mean, that's the first step of a 12-step program. Is admitting you got a problem.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people now that it's like they kind of admit they have a problem, and they are on this path to resolve that problem, but they don't realize it's just like a little bit off. That they're getting into this, they're running on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, and having been in the field of homeopathy for 19 years, I've gotten this real acute observation of that, and it's not a judgment to be able to discern that there's something a little bit off in somebody, because like ultimately I feel like we're all here as to help each other grow.
Well, you got to judge it to some level.
Well,
you got to be like, shit doesn't work.
Right. There's a level of discernment. There's levels of discernment, and it's like, okay, does this work for me? Can I deal with this person? Can I deal with this situation? But this is what I'm talking about here specifically, is about like when somebody sees your limitations and getting into that place where you can feel vulnerable enough to be present with somebody seeing your limitations, and having somebody be able to hold that space. And when you go work with a homeopath, like you kind of have to be that kind of level of vulnerable. It's like the more you can talk about like where you're at, like the more we can help. But of course, we are also trained, and you see things too. And I'm not trying to make anybody feel like self-critical or self-conscious. That's the word I'm looking for. This is just the reality of being human.
I mean, people have to be aware.
Right, and self-consciousness is a symptom.
The process of awakening is becoming more self-aware.
Right.
So it's like people got to get over themselves.
Right, and that's a symptom too. We look at that, like we take that stuff into consideration. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox for now, but
do we
but
get everything cleared out?
Yes, I think so. So I do want to say that if go to our website, sovereigntylab.com, sign up for our newsletter. You can
Go there.
You can learn a little bit more about what Bill and I do.
No, you don't.
I work with people over the phone, over video, and in person in the Western North Carolina area for homeopathy.
He's fire cider.
Fire cider.
Smell it.
Bill's getting distracted, so.
No, I'm not.
Here, let me put a clip on your
focused. Focused.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
No, we're not thanking you for hanging out. We're just hanging out. If you want to hang out, you hang out.
I like that perspective.
Go to the website. Sign up for our newsletter. Sign up for our YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up. And what the hell else? Oh, yeah. If you need more support,
reach
send us
out.
an email. We're real. Keeping it real. Like, solid real.
Yeah. And we're all doing this shit. So, let's keep going.
I'm good.
Peace out.
Okay. We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.